buildings are the nerve centers of an economy. And as India grows, so do its cities and buildings, bursting with enterprises and aspirations. But how ready is our construction, engineering and building industry to grapple with the growing demands of a fast-growing economy? How equipped are we to ensure that the buildings, the new ones and the old, are developed and redeveloped to meet today's and tomorrow's sustainability agenda? It is to find answers to some of these most challenging tasks of building sustainable buildings that we have lined up a series of thought-stimulating sessions under the Sustainable Building Summit Forum. In this very first episode of the series, we have with us stalwarts and icons of the industry, putting the spotlight on the emerging opportunities and strategies to embrace the sustainability agenda in the most planned, efficient and innovative manner.
On behalf of Bloomberg, UTB and all the sponsors, I would like to invite all these panelists. The stage has been set for them with our initial 3 presentations. And I would try to do justice to my job by asking them pretty much probing questions, and let's see what they have to say about it. I think I would like to begin this session with giving due respect to Mr. Parmar here, sitting left to me, and I can see that he is having the richest experience among all of us. So Mr. Parmar, if I can ask you to begin with specifically on the aspect related to is green necessary, because you might have seen the earlier days when the green was not a buzzword, and today when it is kind of become a fashion.
I've gone through the phases of when there was architecture we had, and I mean, there was no emphasis on green because there wasn't that much of emergency of green. But you know that what was there was the green was a way of life. That's what has been slowly disappearing, and so everyone starts thinking about where is the green. I mean, green, when you look at it, you actually look at it green. I mean, now green building, I mean, it takes care of what creates more heat, what creates, destroys the environment, and whatever materials manufactured, how much of nature you have destroyed in that, all that is happening. I'm looking at it as an architect. I do not know nor interested in knowing the figures. How many billions of energy units are spent, how much is needed, what global emergencies we are getting into. Of course, we are feeling the nature, we are feeling the heat, we are feeling everything changing here. But to me, it's very important that the green is a way of life. And it's very important to understand and which is near where we use the directions where we need the north is exposed, the light is less, the reflected light comes, the direct sun doesn't come, and design the spaces where natural light gets in everywhere, natural ventilation gets in everywhere. Once you have done this too, you have already cut down nearly 50% of your need.
Thank you, Mr. Parmar. I have 2 questions to Mr. Kumar here. Number one is, how do you see the reaction of architects or the builder community on this, number one? And number 2, is that enough is done here from the government side, or you think much more can be done in terms of changes in the policy, upgradation of the existing policy?
A lot of architects with whom we are working with, they have come up with a positive response because it is directly hitting the problems we were facing, whether it is in designing, is it approval, or you can say that, okay, predicting that, okay, whether it is a green building. Now I'll ask a very simple question that, okay, relative terms are fine. Like I can say my shirt is whiter than you. But whether my shirt is white or not, so that's why we required certain benchmarks. And in this rating system, somehow we developed the benchmark which can define the greenness of a building. It's not a relative term, so like, okay, you reduce 20%, 30% over a base building. No. Straight away that, okay, if this is your energy performance, that is why you are efficient. Forget about the other things, like the other norms were developed. Now I'm coming to that how we are going to provide a support. When we developed it, we had a conference and all. In fact, I was also a member of ECBC committee who developed it. And when we had a seminar in Delhi, and a lot of people was invited there how to implement it, because our problem is not in developing, our problem is the implementation.
Yes.
Because in India what is happening, we have at state level we have building bylaws, and then we have PWDs, specifications, schedule of rates, contracts and other things, plinth area rates, and at central level CPWD does. So what we thought, in fact, that all these bylaws, specifications, schedule of rates need to be revised first, because somehow we have to ensure that all the new buildings which are going to come, they are going to green, and cost is also taken care of. So now CPWD is revising. It's not that they were not actually revising earlier, but the incorporation of green features were not there. Now if already like ECBC, it is
try to get this answer from someone from builders community we have here.
Two different aspects to it. If you're looking as a builder point of view, I would agree with you, since if you go for an environment clearance, you probably take a year or something in getting those kind of clearances. And as you are saying that we should go for a green building, we wouldn't mind going for a green building, but then we also have to take care of the cost. If the cost escalation is around 8 to 10%, we're probably going to take into consideration, since the cost escalation is already very high. And as far as the approval scenario goes, I think it is a lapse on the government side to make us wait for almost a year. Even if we go for this green certified building, we'll probably take a lot of time, but I don't think it's justified in any way. And if you look at spreading the awareness and making green buildings, I think it's going to be very difficult in a city like Mumbai, where you don't really have a lot of big plots. You have cluster development. Even the mentality of people of you bringing in sunlight, but nobody likes to open the curtains. Let's be very practical that nobody likes those kind of things. So in a city like Mumbai, it is difficult, but I think green should be accepted. But I think the procedure should be much faster. The government has to get much better policies. We need to do it in a certain way where the awareness to not just corporate builders, probably if they want to make it mandatory.
Mr. Shiv Kumar, because he's expert in rainwater harvesting, and I think you have a challenge to answer this question for Mumbai now.
Yeah, I think no, we should first understand what is sustainability. Each one, whether it's you're building a building or a person who is living in that building, they should try to understand what is his energy and water, plus how much nature gives whatever natural resources he uses. Throwing everything in the air and telling that I have very small land or a space plus maybe plenty of money, no, you cannot equate in a society where the natural resources has to be equitably shared. Plus, we have to protect the nature. In fact, there are several policies and several guidelines which have come. The rainwater harvesting, whomsoever you talk, as long as the water cost which is being supplied by the public, this one is so low, why should we do rainwater harvesting? We don't want to invest. Now we don't have place.
Back to Mr. Soma from IGBC, and you have a point of view on this material use related to green buildings.
Government has actually understood all these critical things by the developers and has actually come up with new innovations. One is Ministry of Environmental Forest are actually giving a fast track clearance for all the pre-certified buildings. That means on the design stage itself you can actually go for a green. Fast track. If actually your design is, talking about green concepts, even it is a simple certified building also, not even a silver or gold. That means it doesn't have any implication on the cost. So we can easily go, straight away to the, for the fast track clearance. That means it saves 2 years to reduction of around 18 months. That means within 3 months you will be totally cleared. Also, we are actually developing simple green guidelines which are very practically possible. Such as suppose for Maharashtra, we are developing guidelines in addition to existing bylaws. Existing bylaws enforce the developers to do the something. So we actually take an opinion from all the major developers in Maharashtra. We've gone to them one-to-one interaction on what actually they want. What are the simple things that can be possible on site and practically implementable. So we actually taken suggestions from all of them and developed a simple set of guidelines and have put forth the CM of Maharashtra. On 9th of March, the CM has, in principle, has actually agreed to all the guidelines since he felt that each of the guidelines is easily implementable. Only for a few instances, like for public buildings, he thought about the funds. So he actually asked us to develop a set of like mandatory and voluntary options. And our target is objective in any, Maharashtra or else India. In the pyramid, if you draw, only 5% of the developers are voluntary takers. Developers, any individuals, only 5% of the entire stream are voluntary actions. And rest, maybe 20% will follow the guidelines if it is there. And rest, the pyramid and the bottom of the pyramid are 70% are very, tough to reach. So we actually thought to bring that 70% to bracket to the middle. That means bring them to the top.